the biggest problem I see is that there's not really a clear understanding of what the club stand for now. When we're doing some of the things that have happened, we're selling a lot of our better players or letting them leave to go to explore other opportunities. That's great in a way. I'm proud of all our players down under, but it's not great to see it happen year after year after year. We've had a big change around in staff, and what have we done to keep the culture in place, or was the culture already broken anyway, because we've had so many of these disciplinary issues? I just think the main problem is, what do we stand for and who are we, and what do we want to mean to the people of Wigan, to the supporters of Wigan, to the town, to the team, to the club, to the league, to the sport. And there's so much stuff going on where we don't really understand clearly anymore what position we take on things.
Does it not feel at the moment that the business heads at Wigan have come in and said, look, we need to stop losing so much money? For now, we're losing. I mean, you lost quite a bit last year, and as a business, we need to get back into the black. We need to start earning our own, and then we can start to look at it as a sporting club. Do you think that it's looking more like a business in the short term? So we'll sell some of the big players, we'll get some of the big salaries, let's get back into the black for one season, and then we'll build back up again.
I think at the moment losses are expected because of some of the deals that the club are doing. They've taken over another training ground whilst they've still got their existing training ground that's not been sold yet. There's other sites that will then be sold. So I don't think that. I think Ian Lenigan is keen to keep the spending on the playing side of things at the level it's been at, and it has stayed. The talk about Wigan spending under the cap and that sort of stuff, I don't understand to be true. I think Wigan are spending quite very much to the cap with a little bit of contingency room spare, like all good, well managed clubs should actually have. Because if you have a crisis in the season,
I was gonna crisis.
But yeah, there's possibly been some cost cutting around the edges because crowds are down, so revenues are down, sponsorship revenues are reduced. We didn't quite make the profits that we expected to from the trip last year to Australia, and we didn't. We won one final, but we didn't get to the Challenge Cup final. So basically the way Wigan seems to run to me though is, if we get to the Challenge Cup final we make a profit, if we don't get to the Challenge Cup final we don't make a profit, and it's the years where we get to the Challenge Cup final and still don't make a profit that the concern is, rather than the other years. But yeah.
So next bit of news, Tom Lynham, Toby King and Joe Philbin have all signed new deals with the Warrington Wolves to keep them with the new club until November 2021.
Yeah, and with the fan view on the news that aged the least well over the weekend, Tom Andrews said, "Can't believe a team with the budget of Warrington, in a world where wing is the most stacked position, still have Tom Lynham on the wing." No, he only scored a hat-trick this week, Tom. Wakefield centre Bill Tupu has been ruled out for 3 months with a groin injury.
Tom Andrews yet again says, will be a massive miss for Wakey, along a similar line to Joe Waddle for Rovers. Despite what the Sky say, they don't have an injury crisis though.
To be honest though, Bill Tupu is a good player that we like watching, isn't he? So it is a shame that we won't get to see him for 3 months. I always think when good players go down for long spells, it's sad, because I love watching the sport and I love watching these good players. Again,
the what it comes back to for me is, we're a sport at the end of the day, we're entertainment. The sport has to be entertaining, and this is the whole thing with viewer numbers. It's all right with it's all right winning, but the game has to be entertaining for the long term success. And so you want these players, even though you hate them.
Yeah.
Even though when they're scoring a try against you, you want that sort of thing.
Definitely, yeah. Here's one for you to comment on. Right. Leeds' assistant coach James Lowe has been allowed to leave the club to pursue work outside of rugby league. He has been replaced on an interim basis by former Wakefield head coach Richard Agar. How do you feel about Agar, the coaching master, coming in?
I think at the moment the fans are just looking for someone to blame. I mean, for me, James Lowe did what he was brought in to do, was to calm people whilst whilst the new coach came. further came.
Yeah.
Was to basically put a job in. We'll announce you. We'll announce Sinfield. That'll calm people down while we were in crisis last year. Because did you forget about the crisis last year? No, because Sinfield came in and changed everything, and they did that little video and everything was great. No, he came in and he did what he had to do, and I believe he's gone to a rugby league club to be a defensive coach.
A rugby union club.
A rugby union club, yeah. And do you know what? He is not the reason why we are losing. He is not. He's an easy person to blame. Will he be missed? I don't know. I've not been in the dressing room. I don't know what difference he made.
So has he been targeted by the Leeds fans as part of the problem?
Anybody has.
Oh, right, okay. Everyone other than Conrad Hurrell's been blamed.
Yeah, exactly. And there are still people that say he keeps dropping the ball. It's like, yeah, but he scores 4 fucking tries. We'll get on to Hurrell later.
Fair enough, okay. Richard Agar, do you see him more as just, he's kind of in to do the nuts and bolts coaching and is not really important on developing the players or setting them out the strategy that they're going to follow, so he's kind of...
It sort of feels like we're grasping. It sort of feels like we're grasping for who's available at the moment because something has to change and all we have to do is bring another person in and maybe that's the issue.
Fair enough. I mean, Richard Agar's not exactly got a track record, although Warrington had moments of good times when he was their assistant coach, and Wakefield, no, they were terrible under him. Hull FC, they didn't do very well there either.
Speaking of Hull FC have confirmed that Hakim Maludai has joined the Betfred Championship club team Toronto Wolfpack on an initial 1-month loan.
Warrington forward Pat Moran has joined Sheffield on a 1-month loan deal with immediate effect.
The Cougars have confirmed the signing of winger Tyler Perrell for the Speedster was previously at Warrington but has now joined the local club on a 2-year deal.
Oldham have signed forward Fraser Morris on a 1-month loan deal from Halifax.
There was one thing that I just wanted to chat about before so this week I believe we're supposed to get the RFL announcing if the New York team the New York and the other one,
Ottawa,
yes, are going to be accepted into next year's league. Is that right?
My understanding is this week is when they've allowed these clubs to give their presentations to the other clubs in the League One and Championship competitions to hopefully come together with some sort of consensus and understanding on what the way forward would be for these teams to come into the league structure.
Do you have any thoughts or opinions on them both joining?
I'm an expansionist, generally speaking, because I just think that these poor austerity hit northern towns can't sustain the game to the level that we want it to be sustained at. And I love this sport primarily, and I want it to stay entertaining and stay able to attract talented athletes that rather than them go to other sports. So I think if there's a chance of bringing in some sort of spread of popularity, prosperity, player potential in the longer run, then I think it's a good thing that we expand our footprint. I don't think it'd be a great idea to have these two teams in League One at the same time, but I don't know how far along. The Ottawa bid to me seems like it might be suited to a League One situation. The New York bid should go in no lower than the Championship, and we really should be thinking again about, and people won't like this is one of the most unpopular views I have, about a Super League closed shop. And if we want these brands, these international brands, which is what the Wolfpack have tried to be, which is what New York Rugby League will try to be, then where do we want to place them? We want them playing against Leeds, we want them playing against Warrington, we want them playing against Wigan, Catalan Dragons, St Helens, your big clubs. We would want London to be a big club. It just isn't right now, but we would want that to be the case. And you would want to develop and grow on that. You'd probably need a closed shop with no relegation, because the threat of relegation is not attractive to investors.
You can't
when
have
the prizes at the top level are not what they are in association football. That's my view on it. You've got to be cautious. I buy into Robert Elston's caution over it. At the same time, we need to embrace it still. We need to find a way to embrace it without... It's finding a way to embrace it without losing the soul. And what we're doing, really, is we're selling what we are to them, not letting them come in and take over what we are. Just... The Robert Elston excuse of, we've got to make sure that they're viable.
Have you seen the Super League teams at the moment? Have you seen how many of them are realistically viable?
Which is why it's a fair thing to say that we don't want to bring more clubs in that aren't viable. Because one thing these clubs that we've got have had is staying power. Like, Wakefield are still a Super League club. Come what may, since 1999, they're still a Super League club. That's quite remarkable when you think about the journey they've been over the last 20
relegation.
years.
All it takes is a relegation, a witness,
But Castleford and Salford have both suffered multiple relegations. Huddersfield suffered relegation and came back from it. What I'm saying is these clubs have had staying power, so whilst they are not necessarily well-run clubs bringing more to the game, they've got sticking power because they've got... Their viability is that their town supports the sport.
Yep.
Now, maybe not, but that's not the only thing we want for someone to be viable, but it's true. So you've got to be cautious, but you've got to put them in at the right level.
And that's my one big issue with this, is they're discussing with the League One and Championship teams, which, to be honest, all them teams eventually want to be in Super League. But now Super League's separate, they've basically, once they've got in League One and Championship, they've got to have a brand new discussion with the Super League Europe Limited after that.
Oh, sorry, you mean the new clubs all want to be in
clubs?
Because I would say all the Championship and League One clubs, they don't all want to be in the Super League. I would
No. I'm talking about these new clubs.
Featherstone.
So you're talking your New York.
Yeah.
Your New York. For me, the New York team has financial backing, supposedly. If that comes out and says, right, we've got investors, we've got sponsors, we're at the Red Bull Arena, we're going to be the New York Bulls, the New York Red Bulls, whatever they are, they should be in Super League because there's a possible TV deal with that, but you need to. They're not going to play Batley. That's not exciting.
I think the difficulty with dropping them straight into Super League is I would want them to serve some sort of rugby league apprenticeship. So for the Catalan Dragons, for example, they were dropped straight into Super League, but no, they weren't. There was a project there behind that for multiple years with teams playing in an established area in an established competition. Whereas when Paris Saint-Germain were dropped straight into Super League, they were not playing rugby league in an established rugby league area. They did not have the network behind it, so the sustainability after the initial boom, this is exciting, fell off straight away. What we've been able to see with the Toronto Wolfpack is growth building, and so I would want to see them fight their wares out in the Championship for at least a year. The New York side and Ottawa, I would want to see them start in League One. If they're not going to be bringing as much finance into the table in the early stages, you can't plant them higher up. I don't think. If
the New York team came in and said, right, okay, we'll sign, we'll spend our cap, we'll get these 2-3 NRL players, we'll get these Super League players, and they bought a Super League team.
Right. You mean in terms of playing quality?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's only 12 spaces in Super League right now. I think if you're bringing another team in like New York and they're going to buy all these players, I would think we would need another team in Super League.
Yeah.
Not lose one of the 12 teams we've
I'm not saying we lose one. I'm saying that at some point we have a 14 league Super League with Toronto and New York. Right?
Well, and Toulouse.
And
and Dublin and Red Star Belgrade and Barcelona and
they at the moment they're not on the table.
No, I know, I understand.
Right? But you're talking. If we're talking potential audience, we're talking new audiences actually adding to the sport. You've got New York there, and you've got Toronto, which you can say what you want about Toronto's crowd. And fair play, the April Fools for Toronto was one of the best ones I've seen.
Yeah,
like you can tell that they get it and they understand that. And you've got to say to Warrington's marketing has been amazing this season. They've done really good stuff, but
they managed to maintain their average with a game against London Broncos. We'll find out why, I think, in one of the fan reviews.
Yeah, so I think it's just a waste of time with this discussion. I think bringing them in at League One if your ambition is Super League and you've got to have two sets of negotiations, like we don't actually know right now.
There shouldn't need to be a negotiation for them to move into Super League. They're part of the structure.
But we've already had.
They move up.
But Robert Elson's already said that if Toronto win, we've got to work that out. They've still not worked that out.
I feel like it's okay to. That's not saying that they won't be allowed to be promoted. It's just we want to